Welcome to Toowoomba's picturesque Echo Valley, 132 kilometres west of Brisbane, home to the iconic mountain track and host of round 6 retro round of the Penrite ProMX Championship presented by AMX Superstores. Hi, I'm Kate Peck, and with me is 11-time national motocross champion Lee Hogan. Hogan, people are so excited to be here. What is it about this track everybody loves so much?
Everything. The spectator's point of view and a racer's point of view. You can see so much. It's just a great place to be. The vibe's fantastic.
Well, let's talk racing and get into the young guns. MX3, Byron Dennis, has really found form this season, and he is the man to beat, the one to chase with a 22-point lead in the championship.
Yeah, look, Byron Dennis has won some races, but it's been his consistency that's just been brutal for his competitors, that's for sure. And I guess hence why he's got that red background and such a substantial championship points lead.
And let's talk about Jake Cannon as well on the Yamaha. Another excellent performance at Gilman for the junior.
First ever win for Jake Cannon. It was so good to see. But you know what? 3 rounds here, finishing off the season in Queensland. I don't think we've seen the last overall for this year from Jake. And
in MX2, let's talk about Wilson Todd, because he has returned to complete 100% health. He is looking unstoppable with a clean sweep of Gilman.
He has got such a massive points lead, but I just loved the battles that he had with Nathan Crawford at the last round. It was great, right the way down to the wire in both motos, that's for sure. But the red background's looking good on Wilson Todd's bike, and it looks like staying there.
All right, let's check out the Michelin track preview with your expert commentators, Danny Ham and Lee Hogan.
For this week's Michelin track preview, we take a look at the legendary Echo Valley circuit here in Toowoomba, Queensland, and a track that's remained relatively unchanged since 1975 when the club first started running big events. Now, something that has changed over the last 12 months is this new metal mesh starting grate. Now, they're coming in line a little bit with international races worldwide, trying to make it consistent right the way through. Now, something that hasn't changed for as long as I can remember racing here in the early 1980s is this iconic first turn. Now, as we can see, the sun's beating down onto this start straight, drying it out as we speak. But if you have a look in the first turn, we can see it's covered with shade with all of the surrounding trees at the moment, and it remains that way through most of the day, keeping the moisture in the track and providing so many ruts and different passing opportunities.
It's not long into the lap before these riders really tested. As you can see straight behind me, this is the first of the downhills that they will encounter this weekend. Now, the track is ripped quite deep in some areas. This is one of them. It will produce a lot of ruts, braking bumps, and coming into Michelin turn, the amount of braking and hard braking you have to do simply to stop and make this turn is absolute extreme. It will produce a lot of inside and outside options though, and that's what we see around the entire track, which is a really good thing for passing out here. Not to mention, as soon as you exit this corner, you roll straight into these big rolling whoops, which is something we don't generally see on a hard packed surface. Add in some big jumps, and this track has absolutely everything to test the riders this weekend.
Now, continuing with the elevation theme here at the Toowoomba Motocross track, I am standing near the top of the Matterhorn, the biggest and steepest hill that we've got on the track here. Now, as you can see, I can almost lean out and touch the top of the dirt here. We're on that much of an angle. So riders are going to be presented with a lot of technical parts, not only to this hill here, but the whole track. If you have a look all the way down the bottom, when the riders drop off the first part of this Matterhorn, they're presented with the G out, the lowest part. And they're gonna see some super deep straight line ruts that's gonna put them to the test.
The Echo Valley track is simply spectacular. It's really going to favour the technical rider and is setting up for some fantastic racing. And that there is this week's Michelin track preview.
Charlie Cannon, your first MX2 race for this season. How was qualifying? How are you finding the track? We're obviously in your home territory, so you've got to be happy that the sun is out and shining.
Yeah, I'm definitely enjoying this track. It's pretty fast this morning, so Racing might be a bit different. I qualified 21st, so I know I can hopefully do a lot better than that.
So how do you approach this race? What do you want to get out of it? Is it just more experience racing with the boys? Obviously the competition is a lot more fierce.
Yeah, just more gate drops. I'm just working on everything with the longer motos, high intensity for my future races and the world championships as well. So just getting as much experience with the faster guys and the longer motos.
Excellent. Well, I think you've got Turkey coming up for your next MXGP race, but we'll see you at the MX2 races also in the upcoming rounds.
Yeah, see you at QMP.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks, Charlie. Okay, I'm just going to pop over next to me right here, Brodie Connolly. Brodie, decent qualifying. How did you find it out there? What's your strategy coming into this race today?
Yeah, qualifying was okay. Ended up 6th. Got a bit of speed to find, but I know I'll do it. And yeah, I just hope to get off to a good start and make it happen.
Yeah, excellent. And what do you think about these conditions? They're hard packed. They're pretty technical. Is this something that you've ridden a lot of in New Zealand? Is it something you enjoy?
Yeah, definitely enjoy the hard pack, and there's heaps of elevation here too, which is quite similar to home.
All right, good luck out there.
Cheers.
Okay, we're going to head up to Charlie Cannon's brother, Jake Cannon, who is with Danny Ham.
I'd like to say that the MX3 class is starting to heat up, but realistically, it has been red hot since the start of the series. And one of those guys bringing that heat is Jake Cannon. Jake, we didn't actually see it on the TV broadcast, but in fact, you got the overall at the last round. How was that? How did that feel for you?
I mean, I'm happy with first, so it was a good step. I think the best I've gotten is second so far. So, I mean, yeah, I'm happy to come away with first, even though it wasn't announced, but.
Mate, we've seen the progression over the last couple of years with yourself. This class really is developing some fantastic riders. This particular track, I've heard some big things leading into this one. Watch out for Jake Cannon. He is absolutely flying at the races that we've seen earlier this year. What's it going to take to come away with a win tomorrow?
Just clocking off my laps. I like Toowoomba, so I'm good in the clay, so hopefully I can get a good start and just bring it home, I guess.
A few more rounds to go. Down there in 3rd place, do you think you can climb up a couple more places, get on the top step by the end of this championship?
I'm not too far off second, and I'm not sure first, but if I just keep doing what I'm doing, I reckon I've got a good chance. So, yeah.
Well, good luck, mate. Really looking forward to see how this one pans out.
Thank you, thank you.
So we take a look at the Pirelli MX2 lineup. Of course, Nathan Crawford, Wilson Todd, Noah Ferguson also was your 3rd fastest guy out there. Reese Budd, Caleb Barham, some guys that have done a lot of laps up here, Lee.
Can't wait to see Caleb Barham out there, the local boy from Toowoomba. Brodie Connolly, the New Zealander. Haruki Yokoyama from Japan. Riley Fitzpatrick, Blake Fox, and Ryan Alexanderson.
Great to see Blake Fox returning to some speed up here. Liam Atkinson, Jake Kukas, Liam Andrews, Brock Flynn, and Chandler Burns. I spoke to Burnsy a little bit earlier. I've got a few insights on the track we'll bring up as we talk through this. Great to see more and more of these guys up there in the top 20.
And Caden Menia not qualifying quite the way he would have liked, but expect to see him a little bit further up the leaderboard come drop of the gate. The kid does know how to race. Charlie Cannon there in 21st. Great to see her out here racing against the boys in MX2.
Going to pick up so much experience, so much intensity and speed, exactly what she needs to do for her World Championship campaign. And of course, this is ideal for her to be out there racing with the boys, absolutely giving it to them as well. They do not hold back on her, as too does she not hold back on the boys. Great to see her out there as we get set for the first of our motos here today.
Now we're just about in the starters' hands. What a fantastic venue it is here at Echo Valley, Toowoomba in Queensland. Not only great for the racers, but the spectators alike. It's like we're in a bit of an amphitheatre here. You can see all the way to the top, and the top of that Matterhorn. What a sight it is.
Oh man, you and I both walked that yesterday for our track preview, and the heart rates were through the roof for both of us, just trying to get up there. So these bikes working exceptionally hard just to make it up as they come off a very steep jump also before it, so that momentum is halted briefly before they head on up there.
Now, a great shot here, Danny, that just shows if you're on the left-hand side of the grid and you don't get a good pick of the grid, you are at a big disadvantage. You really need to be the right-hand side of that dog box and swoop your way into that first turn. So who is your pick for whole shot here in Moto1 of the MX2?
Well, we are about to find out. Of course, we've seen great starts out of Wilson Todd in the last round. Can he do it again here? It's going to be a much more even start. It looks to the outside, though. A Honda looks good. It is Todd that's got a good launch, but the inside can control this one.
Great jump from Liam Andrews on the privateer Honda there, riding for Spectro Elliott Brothers. He's up there in the top 5 or 6, shuffled back 1 or 2. But we'll have to try to pick up who's at the head of the pack. I can see Brodie Connolly there, our number 88 machine on the HRC Honda. Rider's gone down there on the inside. And nearly lost at number 50, that's Krebs.
Yep, so Brodie Connolly was up there up front. We also saw Ryan Alexanderson, Noah Ferguson, Brock Flynn, Caden Minia, the lightweight in these heavy conditions, certainly taken to his advantage. Also up there, Blake Fox. Charlie Cannon, 6th off the start across the first timing loop. So she's got herself a great start there. She's in the middle of screen. Keep an eye on her and how far she can progress in this. I'm interested to see how Connolly and Ferguson respond in these opening laps.
Fantastic start from Noah Ferguson there to be right up there in the pointy end of the field. We know how fast he is.
The 7-hole shot award going to Connolly just there. But the opening laps here as these riders just try to come to grips with how these ruts have changed. And we see a lot of ruts, and we should see it in just a moment. We should see Todd to the outside there.
Yeah, Wilson Todd almost off the side of the track and nearly collecting the Pirelli banners. But back on course and no problem whatsoever. He's got a little bit of work to do to find his way up towards the head of the pack. But what a great start we have seen from Brodie Connolly, Noah Ferguson, Caden Minia, and Blake Fox.
Todd making his way past Flynn just there, looking to the background. Now this is, Flynn almost losing the back wheel off the drop. Now this is difficult for us at the moment, Lee, because we're so used to seeing bike colours. There we go, right there on the middle of the screen, 199. Now that we see the back of him, that is Nathan Crawford back there in 9th place. He is battling it out with Reese Budd. However, he did just get passed by Liam Andrews just a moment ago.
What a great shot that is, coming out of turn 1 into the shadows. Now that must be playing chaos with the riders, Danny. Can you talk us through the changing contrast from brutal sun into the shade? Riders potentially running tinted lenses. They've got either roll-offs or tear-offs. Talk us through shade.
And when you can see it right there, can't you? Even on the screen. Now, it's very difficult for these guys, especially in this particular dirt. This is very dark, so it really saps that light straight into it. And then when you get these shadows, it is almost blind for a lot of these guys going into these turns or through these ruts, especially coming down that big hill with the way the sun sits at the moment.
Have a look here at the Honda replay of Reese Budd up the inside. Very forceful and very evasive action from Minia. Very quick on the tipping up. Otherwise, that could have been disastrous. Once again around the outside, but even closer this time for Noah Ferguson.
He is trying everything. He does need to get a good run out of this corner, which he has. This could be the moment that we see that pass made up to the inside. But again, Connolly closes that door, runs very wide, and Ferguson knows the desperation, the importance right now of making this pass stick, which it looks like he's going to get done right into this corner. Oh, Connolly, so brave around the outside, but it ultimately didn't pay off for him, and Ferguson now has that pass made. They need to get this cleared up because Wilson Todd in the background and Crawford, who are touching wheels as well, they are coming at a rapid rate.
10 points for Brodie Connolly for attempting to tip it in. He would have kept it if it wasn't for that mistake.
Yeah.
But it's the pressure that Ferguson was putting on for such a long period of time that forced that mistake. And now what you've got to wonder is how much energy has Brodie Connolly used being able to try to hold Ferguson back there, and is that going to drop him back into the clutches of both Wilson Todd and Nathan Crawford?
Well, it does appear to be so at the moment, Lee, as they go up to the top here. And Crawford, still that intensity. And this is something that you've got to bring to light as well, is the resilience of Wilson Todd to be able to maintain that pressure. As we see a big dive down the inside here by Crawford. This is close enough.
How about the downhill pace on the Matterhorn from Nathan Crawford? It started from the first tip in, and he basically didn't back off through those G-out runs. That was incredible.
You really don't get a good understanding from that camera view just how crazy it is. Watch this, to the inside, barely any brakes as they go into this corner, kept their momentum going. Again, great riding there by Wilson Todd to understand where the pass was being made, just backed it off. Now he can't let Crawford creep away from him. He needs to stick onto that back wheel. This battle still going on as we get to the closing stages of Moto #1 for the MX2 class. Only 1 minute 53 seconds left to go in this, so we would assume we've got another 2 laps, maybe even 3, with the way the lead riders came over the last time around. I would suspect that Nathan Crawford will come across the line with maybe 10 or 15 seconds to go, so an extra lap will be done, but that's only going to help Ryan Alexanderson, who continues to work on the back wheel here of Connolly as they move to the first of these right-handers and up the hill. And both you and I, Lee, know just how steep it is and how hard it is to get that momentum going up these hills. We've ridden here before, and especially on these smaller bikes, the corner speed is vital going into those uphills.
Now, Danny, let's not rule out Noah Ferguson, who's only 3 seconds behind Nathan Crawford at the moment. But the last time round, he did a 1:53 as opposed to Nathan Crawford's 1:54. If that continues over the next couple of laps, we could find ourselves with a nice little battle going into that last lap. I think a lot of it's going to have to do with how Nathan Crawford responds the next time round. Let's keep our eyes peeled on that lap time.
Well, that's an interesting point that you brought up at the start with Noah Ferguson. We've spoken about him in the previous years, how fast he was at the opening. But again, we've seen in the last couple of rounds just how great he's been able to close these races out. Potentially, do you think maybe he's just taken a bit of a breather and then he's going to close it out really strong? Or is it the fact that what we're seeing right now is that the lead rider is deep in lapped riders, and that is why we're seeing the difference in those lap times?
I think, to be honest, what we're seeing is Nathan Crawford on an absolute mission today, who showed us the kind of speed that he has when he needed to, and I think he's controlling the race at the moment, to be honest. He would be receiving pit boards to let him know exactly where he is, and I will try my hardest not to put the commentator's curse onto him. And we find ourselves now, it still says 4.1 seconds, but I'll be interested to see if Noah was able to make up a little bit of time there.
That was interesting after he had that moment. Okay, let's have a look at this. He comes into the rut nights, really tips it in, but it bounces him on the exit. Settled going into the corner, tips it in, and oh, the front wheel, just a little bounce.
Little knife of the front wheel as it went over some hard pack stuff.
But then straight after that, he looked down at the rear peg. Maybe it just got caught up in one of those ruts. There's a potential there it could have got ripped back. Maybe not, but he certainly, there was a concern there that he wanted to have a look at. A couple of those moments, Lee, you will know yourself, they're the kind of moments that they go, wait, I've got to just bring this back a fraction and make sure that we close this race out. The last thing you need is another mistake like that.
Well, the thing is, Danny, and you would know as well as I do, that sometimes mistakes like that can happen for 2 reasons. 1, because you're pushing too hard. 2, because you slow down to a speed that you're not used to going. You're trying to maintain your lead. You're just trying to get it through to the checkered flag. Next thing, you make a mistake that nearly puts you on the ground, and you just go, what are you doing? Stop slowing down. Let's go my normal pace. And quite often, you can stay a little bit smoother.
But even there as well, that front wheel just, again, a little bit of a tip over in mid-turn. So he's still pushing, no doubt. We will look at the lap times as they go across the line this time. We'll see how much that actually hurt him. That should have allowed Ferguson to close in a bit. That was a 56 lap time compared to Ferguson's, he's coming across now, 59 lap time.
Big mistake. Something's happened. And that's what I was about to say before when I noticed the mistake that Crawford made, and we looked back and we saw, where is Noah Ferguson? So I think off camera, Ferguson's had a big mistake, maybe even an off-track excursion to have lost that kind of time. So a 6.8 second lead as Nathan Crawford heads now into the last lap here for the Pirelli MX2 Moto #1. What a race it has been for Nathan Crawford, coming from a long way through the pack.
Ferguson down in the Michelin turn here, and the braking that you have to do going down into this turn is something else, especially when you start getting those ruts and those braking bumps developing in the ruts. Include shadows into that, and it becomes one of the most difficult turns on the track. But good to see a couple of different lines, Lee, in these corners as we see Crawford still running that quick line around the outside, carrying that momentum. But you do have those options up the inside, mid-track turn for a lot of these corners where there's those multiple ruts as we see leading into this one right here.
And also good to mention there, and also good to see that Wilson Todd, after that mid-race section where we thought we might have had a bit of a bike issue, he has come back to having the fastest lap, a 1:54. The only other rider in the 1:54s that last time around was his teammate Brodie Connolly. So both of these guys finishing exceptionally fast going into this last lap here. But absolute cruise control here for Nathan Crawford as he makes his way through with just a couple of corners to go.
Quick glance over the shoulder a couple of times at the top of Matterhorn as they go through Thor turn just there. And it will be Nathan Crawford up to the tail. Oh, sorry, it's a bit of a step up. A little whip there just shows how comfortable he is at the moment. Last turn, greets a checkered flag, bit of a chest thump there. And he is showing the dominance that he knows he can put out there. And look out to everyone in Moto number 2. Great ride, though, for second place there.
Amazing ride for Noah Ferguson. Wilson Todd will be the next one to come through, carrying that number 1 plate. Still amazing points for him, but he will not be happy with that he allowed his arch rival to step off into the distance.
And I'm sure that we'll pick it up in his voice, the confidence that this guy has when he starts to ride like this. As we take a look at the Pirelli MX2 Moto number 1 results, of course, Nathan Crawford was your winner. Noah Ferguson, Wilson Todd Rees, Bud, Liam Andrews, Brodie Connolly, Ryan Alexanderson with a great 7th place there. As to Haruki Yokoyama, great to see him back up there. Minya, solid ride. And Caleb Barham, who we did not even mention, moved his way up into 10th place.
Riley Fitzpatrick there in 11th, Jack Kukas, Brock Flynn, the Western Australian, Blake Fox dropped down to 14th place, and Liam Atkinson there in 15th.
Benny Novak back there in 18th, Charlie Cannon, a top 20 result. Wow, what a performance to get up there. George Knight back there in 20th.
Chandler Burns there in 23rd place. Let's go down to Kate.
Yeah, Nathan Crawford on the KTM. You're on a mission out there. Congratulations on that win. Tell us about your start and about that hard charge in that race.
Yeah, honestly, I blew the start. Every start I've done this morning so far has been great until then. So, yeah, I went around the corner in like probably 10th, and then I actually got shuffled back a little bit. The first lap was just chaos out there. Obviously, parts of the track here are quite tight. But I just had tunnel vision on the guys at the front. I was trying to look through everybody that was in front of me except the leaders, and I just kept my eye on them the whole time. I know my speed around here is really good. Just been feeling really good with the bike all day. The bike's handling unreal around the track. So I just tried to keep a cool head for the first 10 or 15 minutes there, and I could see myself slowly getting towards the front. Then once I got into third and sort of second, I really put my head down and chased Noah down. And once I passed him, I really feel like I had to put down a couple of hard laps, because I know from previous experience when Noah can see where we're going or where I'm going, he latches on. So, yeah, it was a hard race, but you're really happy to get it done. I come from a ways back, and hopefully we can back it up in the next moto.
Good luck in that next moto.
Thank you.
Time for a quick little break. When we come back, MX3 Moto 2. Welcome back to the Penrite Oils ProMX Championships, brought to you by AMX Superstores. We're at Echo Valley, Toowoomba, Queensland for Retro Round, and we have had a lot of fun so far. We just watched the MX1 class, and we are just about go time for MX3 Moto number 2, Danny.
Well, let's take a look at the highlights from Moto number 1. Now, there was massive issues on the start line for a lot of the riders. The gates held quite a long time, and you can see right there the 410 machine was one of those guys, as too was Olander. The 410, Jake Cannon, unfortunately stuck there.
46 was, I didn't notice that, but Kobe Drew, who ended up right up there near the head of the pack, was also in dead last place.
As always, this class never disappoints, as we saw the battles starting nice and early. Jake Mather up the inside of Byron Dennis, but it wouldn't be too long till we saw this. Mather tried to go around the outside, but the whole shot guy of Deacon Pace pushed him a little bit wide. Pace was up there for quite a few laps, but it also allowed Dennis to make the pass, and he put himself out into the lead for most of this race.
What's been such a positive year for him. He's shown so much consistency, has Byron Dennis, and now we see Caden Strobe going down on the number 38 machine. But Byron Dennis has got that red background, and it's a testament to his consistency this year. A couple of our back markers coming together. As you said earlier on, Danny, two lines coming together, it doesn't work. And it didn't work for Connor Towle, as he had a couple of little tip-overs right there.
So it was plenty of pressure up the front between these two Mather made the pass, but Dennis passed him straight back. A beautiful line through there, well read, but then it wasn't too long until Mather had a great run to the inside, puts himself into #1 position and close out that race with a fantastic win.
He had to come from a long way back, did Jake Mather, that's for sure. Let's have a look at the Maxxis Tyres lineup. MX3 Moto 2. Our fastest qualifier, Jake Cannon, Campbell Williams, Connor Towell, Kobe Drew and Seth Birchall.
Jack Mather, Byron Dennis, Deacon Pace, who got the whole shot race 1, Caden Kingsford and Liam Owens, who was also up there in that first Moto Lee, really putting it up the inside of a few of them riders trying to get up to the top place, but ultimately didn't quite get there as we get set for Moto #2 to get underway. Great jump out by a lot of these riders. Who's going to get it from the inside? Looks like Lindsay, the #7, or Kingsford.
Caden Kingsford, #20 on the Yamaha machine. We also see Lindsay there. Looks to be Kobe Drew, some of our big hitters. Campbell Williams mired back in mid-pack there on the Empire Kawasaki.
Looking for the race winners from the first one. There's Mather.
Wow.
Owen, they're both up there as well. As to was King, he's up there. I didn't catch where the 23 machine was, and going across the first timing loop, we're waiting for them all to get to our screen. Byron Dennis, 15th place across the first timing loop, so he's got a lot of work ahead of him.
Yes, he does, as we see it. Looked like Connor Towell just coming through there at the head of the pack. Mather has made his way up to the head of the pack, I believe. We'll pick him up as they come into this next right-hander, and yes, it is our race 1 winner, Jack Mather, on the race line. Husqvarna machine has made his way up to the head of the pack, and this is looking like being his day.
It was a great ride by Kingsford as well in Moto #1 as we look to the Matrix Concepts whole shot, and that, of course, is going to the 20 machine of Cade Kingsford. There is Cannon on the 410, launching up and over the top of that tabletop before they go to the top of the Matterhorn, through the shot corner and into Dunlop here. Owen looking very strong again at the early parts of this race.
Likewise for Jake Cannon, trying to put a little bit of pressure on and make his way up towards that head of the pack so he can battle with the leaders, and a nice little pass from Liam Owens there, and a mistake from Cade Kingsford almost brings himself together with Jake Cannon.
If you take a look at this replay, watch to the inside here on the second place rider about to enter, just missed the entry into that rut with the back wheel and the front actually, and just tipped it over. Nice move by Kingsford to get out of that.
Yeah, nowhere for these riders to go except loft that front wheel up and over the rut. Ryan King doing a great job here, battling in nicely. #46. There we see Kobe Drew once again. Seen a lot more of this kid.
Drew to the inside, trying to get a great run up here. Another yellow flag out. Could this be another one of our lead riders that's dropped it into this corner? Is that Mather? I believe that's Mather that's gone down. Yeah. So Mather went down in Pirelli turn just there. He's dropped back a couple of places. He's now sits behind Connor Towell.
So Jake Cannon, after qualifying fastest earlier on in the day, finds himself in the lead with some very fast times. Got himself a 1:53. Let's have a bit of a look here at the Honda replay. Oh, big mistake. Oh, wow, that was 2 parts to over the bars there. He got a little bit of a jack from the rear end, rode that front wheel, brought it back down, and then had no choice but to go straight through the front door.
So the race leader once again has extended the gap out to 10.3 seconds. So that one mistake, yes, certainly cost him a couple of seconds in the previous lap, but as we see there, smooth and fast, it isn't affecting his lap time speed as he continues to stretch out that lead. 10 seconds is a nice handy lead to have over the rest of the field as we got 10 minutes left to go in this moto.
An update on that penalty for those 3 riders is that all 3 of them used a broom to sweep down their start gate, and that is not allowed.
Yeah, interesting one there. I honestly haven't heard of that one before, but if it's in the rule books, they're the rules. Got to obey them. So, yeah, these guys, the teams, the riders, they all need to be across all of these rules before they put themselves into these positions.
And that gets me thinking a little bit, Danny, going back to what you said earlier in the live stream telecast and mentioning about in practice how we had numerous riders did a practice start on the metal mesh starting grid, beautiful traction. They came back for their next start and lit it up and got sideways, like almost 90 degrees sideways out of a metal grate. Now, I've never seen that happen before, and I'm wondering if that perhaps is what's played into these guys wanting to get the broom out. And we saw Kobe Drew there with the hand out going, what's up, what's going on?
So I think he might have just been shown the black flag penalty that he's received. Nothing he can do about that right now. He just needs to continue to race, try and pick up as many places as he can, if he can. That will be applied, the penalty will be applied after the race. So yeah, as it stands at the moment, the potential podium looks like it will be Byron Dennis, then Mather, and then Kobe Drew. However, we've still got a minute and a half left to go in this. Certainly not closed out just yet.
Jake Cannon is going to be not too far away now from receiving that last lap board.
To the top of the hill there. There is Jake Cannon, though, over the big step up through the Honda turn here on the left. Last lap board is out, so he will be absolutely beaming with a smile under that helmet right now, seeing that just one more lap to close this one out. However, I'm sure he'll go away from today going what it could have been had he not had that issue on the start line the first race.
An absolute superstar for the future of our sport of motocross here in Australia and no doubt overseas. It's so great to see one of our young juniors doing this kind of thing in this amazing class that is MX3, brought to us by Maxxis Tyres, as he heads off for the first part of the final lap here. What an amazing day it has been so far at Toowoomba, and of course the Echo Valley circuit around the left-hander and heading up towards the whoop section for the final time.
It's interesting to see how these riders do get through those whoops, Lee. It's been some of the riders just bouncing through 2, 3, 4 times. I did notice, although these guys aren't going to be able to do it, not with the horsepower that they have, that Ferris was getting through there in just simply 2 jumps.
Yeah, I noticed a couple of them. I think Kirk Gibbs did it a couple of times as well. There's not many people that have done it and just been able to leap in and leap out in one hit out, but it looks great when it's done. And someone that is looking great without a doubt is this young kid, Jake Cannon. He's made that Yamaha look exceptionally fine today. A small little mishap out of the gate that cost him so much, but what a charge he put through the pack in Moto1. He's going to make amends here in Moto2 as he comes through the sweeping shot right-hander. A little bit of a nudge into the back of a lapped rider as he heads down the very steep Matterhorn for the final time.
He would have been holding his breath just there for just a moment, getting so close to this win, and then having a little tap there, but only a couple of turns now left to go for this rider through the Thor turn. And he will come around to get his first win of the day. Nice little whip there into the final turn for today. It will be the 410 machine. Jake Cannon taking the win. Fantastic effort there.
And back in second place now. Looks to be showing Byron Dennis 14 seconds back. So we'll try to pick him up as he comes through.
And a freight train all across the line there with Mather, Drew, and then Olander unable to get those final passes done.
Great charge from Olander, though, in the latter stages there.
Yeah, that was a strong performance by Olander. Had some really good lap times going on. And at a pointy end of the field where we're so used to seeing him being, great to get that great result.
Some of our other riders starting to make their way through now, and what a tough 20 minutes plus a lap that would have been for our Maxxis Tyres MX3 riders. Under very sunny conditions here, and have a look at that drone shot, Danny Ham. Beautiful landscape and amazing track.
Really gives you a good overhead view of just how hard the ground is becoming, especially there at the finish line. You can just see how shiny and how bright it is, that hard-packed surface. So really this circuit throwing all different conditions at these riders today to test them out.
Now, I'm just trying to pick up for you as in round points here, because provisional, waiting to see what happens with that penalty. Let's take a look at the Maxxis Tyres results. MX3 Moto 2, Jake Cannon with the win. Byron Dennis making his way through to second place in the Moto. Jack Mather in third. Kobe Drew and Travis Olander rounding out the top 5.
Owens makes his way up into 6th place. Tao back there in 7th. Williams, a good ride, back in 8th place. Hantis and Kingsford with a good, solid top 10 finish.
Ryan King there in 11th. Birchall, Manson, Deacon Pace in 14th, and Jet Williams in 15th.
Lindsay Wilmington, sorry about that. Strode, Devonter and O'Lone are your top 20.
Great job for these guys. Deegan Rose, Joel Freiberg, Logan Denise, Seth Shackleton, and the list goes on.
Let's have a look at the champ points as we see them for the moment. Provisionally, it is Byron Dennis who stretches out that lead just slightly over Jack Mather. Cannon back there picks up some very valuable points in front of Williams and Andrew.
Seth Birchall back there in 6th place. Travis Olander after that fantastic come from behind ride there in 7th. Liam Owens in 8th. Connor Towell and Kai Woods rounding out the top 10.
So interesting to see this championship unfold. Those points so vital at this point of the championship, but Dennis is doing everything right. Although he hasn't won the race, he's been so consistent and just picking up those points. Let's head down to Kate with our podium.
So for the Moto2 winner, Jake Cannon on the Yamaha, some really good, solid redemption from Moto1 there. Well done.
Yeah, thank you. Moto1 was a bit of a shocker. Stalled on the start, then lost my back brake halfway through, so I just rebounded and glad to get the win in the second race.
Definitely. Well, we are in your territory, so we look forward to what you can get done at QMP and Coolum.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to those 2 rounds. My Yamaha's Yamalu bikes hooking up good, so I can't wait.
Good stuff. Excellent. Well done. I'm just going to sneak behind you now. Liam Owens, fantastic performance for you. A P3 for the round. You're on a new bike for this race. Your best performance so far this year. Well done.
Yeah, I was very happy with that. I had a bit of a rough last race. I crashed twice, but I still somehow found my way up here, so that's all that matters. I'm after consistency this season, and I think I'm ready for a win now. I'm well overdue.
Yeah. Okay, well, we wish you the best of luck. We'll see you the next round.
Thank you very much.
All right, and in P2 for the round, Jack Mather. Jack, all your family are here today. It must be nice to have them here supporting you. Probably not the result that you wanted in terms of penalties, but still an excellent performance and really important championship points.
Yeah, it was definitely a tough race for me. A couple of mistakes going down, and obviously the penalty that's out of my control. But yeah, happy to be on the box still.
Still a P2 for the round, so well done.
Thank you.
And in P1, Byron Dennis. Byron, everybody's here to support you. It's really fantastic. I know you haven't been to this track before, so incredible performance. I know you've been working really hard behind the scenes.
Yeah, behind the scenes, been putting a heap of effort in. Yeah, the track's amazing here, first time here, and yeah, got the win, so stoked on that. And yeah, hopefully have another good 2 rounds in the next one.
Definitely. All right, well, good luck in the next 2 rounds. We'll see you there.
Thank you.
Cheers. Cheers, thanks, boys.
All right, well, time for a quick little break here. When we come back, we have got plenty more action. Welcome back to the Penrite Oils ProMX Championships, brought to you by AMX Superstores. We are at Echo Valley in Toowoomba, and take a look at the view from this drone shot. Not only an amazing track, but the backdrop, incredible. Let's have a look at the Pirelli lineup. MX2 start list: Nathan Crawford, Wilson Todd, Noah Ferguson, Reese Budd, and Caleb Barham.
Brody Connolly, as we said, got the great start. Yokoyama with a good result, first one as well. Fitzpatrick, Fox, and Alexanderson for the 10.
Liam Atkinson, Jack Kukas, Liam Andrews after a fantastic ride from the privateer in Moto1, Brock Flynn, Chandler Burns.
And then the rest of the riders all putting in some massive efforts as well. This class really produces some fantastic racing, and today more so than ever, we are seeing so much close racing between all of these guys and girls.
I was going to say, I tell you what, I can't wait to see another good start from our superstar women's racer, Charlie Cannon. Let's watch for that number 7. But I'm going to pick a good start from our 2 big hitters, Nathan Crawford and Wilson Todd. Who'd you pick for the whole shot, Danny?
Yeah, look, if Connolly can get another jump like that, we know that Crawford was a little lazy on the start. He admitted that it wasn't his best start, and that's why he was so far back. Maybe it was what we spoke about with the wheel spin that they had earlier on, playing it in the minds of these riders. This one, I don't think we're going to see the same mistake as we see the 15-second board up, ready to go to get these guys' final moto out of the way for today and really set the tone for the last couple of rounds of this championship. Can Crawford continue on the dominance, or will Wilson Todd respond in Moto number 2?
I'm going wild card for a good start from Liam Andrews, but Wilson Todd has launched out of the gate. What a start from the number 1 rider and a way to rebound. Looked to be Haruki Yokoyama with a good start, as is Reese Budd on the Serco Yamaha.
And it wasn't a bad start for Crawford either. However, there's Charlie Cannon, another great start. It was a good start for Crawford, but Haruki Yokoyama ran a little bit wide coming through turn number 1, and that closed the door on Crawford. Now he's a long way back.
Looks to be number 196. We'll try to pick up who that is. We'll bring that to you in a second. Our 7-hole shot award going to Wilson Todd. We had a down rider on the first downhill heading towards the whoop section.
Yeah, there was 2 riders in that, so hopefully all of our top riders have cleared that one as we see the leaderboard on the left-hand side. Todd, Budd, Kukas with another good start.
Now, Danny, sorry, Nathan Crawford has already made his way into 2nd place somehow from 5th. So that is, he's made some very, very fast moves, and I think it's only a matter of time before Wilson Todd feels the wrath of the KTM rider.
Well, there is Ferguson as well, and I cannot for the life of me see him on the leaderboard on the left-hand side. However, he is up just in front of these guys here. So he has made some passes very quickly. We saw Ferguson was very quick in Moto number 1 as well. And he'll be looking forward to moving up. How's the sun in the eyes of the riders? You can see it right there.
Well, that looked to be a yellow flag out, and that was one of our leaders. So we'll have to see who that is. That looked to be heading down the Matterhorn. So we'll try to pick that up. And there we see on screen Noah Ferguson. So our battle at the head of the pack, exactly what we came to see. All the spectators will be eyes on Wilson Todd and Nathan Crawford, the winner of race 1. Nathan Crawford takes on our championship points leader. Who's going to come out on top here?
So have they made changes? We caught a glimpse of maybe there might have been a bike issue in race number 1 with Wilson Todd. We got reports of him pointing down at the bike. However, we couldn't see anything wrong with it. So that is a little unknown at the moment. Have they made some changes? Blake Fox, unfortunately, down there in front of the mechanics area. So have they made some changes? Does that put Wilson Todd in a much more comfortable mind frame as he leads this one out in the 2nd lap? Moto number 2 of the Pirelli MX2. Reese Budd has got a fight on his hands, no doubt, as all 3 riders drop down this hill into the tight left-hand Michelin turn. Look at this, up the inside, a great run there by Ferguson. Can Budd hold on? He will control the inside. Great pass there by Ferguson.
That was just commitment coming down that first hill. Great corner speed before the whoops and launched in. Just kind of rode out the last 3 or 4 whoops, just hoping for the best. And it dropped him into a very good line into that right-hander. So a well-earned pass there from Noah Ferguson, relegating Reese Budd back a position.
Todd, 0.8 seconds. The Honda rider, the number 1, who has himself a considerable lead in this championship and the opportunity to really just control the way this championship plays out with some very smart riding. A win here will make it even easier moving into the final rounds of this series for him. So he is certainly not going to want to give up this race win. As we see Connolly and Reese Budd still not done yet with this battle between them. Ferguson has cleared out from both of them. Let's look at this. So it looks like the back wheel maybe stepped out, do you think, over the top of that rut?
Yeah, he was trying to get to that inside line and the back wheel stepped out and gone sideways, but it's very rarely you'll see that will turn into a crash. Even a mistake like that, he still managed to keep a hold of it. But now we can see Nathan Crawford just trying to wind up that pressure, trying to put the screws on to try to cause another mistake potentially from Wilson Todd as they're once again up on the highest part of the track and launch their way down the Matterhorn into this big left-handed berm. Can we see something from Crawford?
Now, you're bringing to light there a second ago, Lee, before I rudely cut you off, but Ferguson, very impressed with his ride.
Yes, for sure. And we spoke about it multiple times earlier on in the day about how he's always had the speed in the first half of the race, but just being able to close out the last half of the race and be able to keep those lap times super fast. And that's what he's doing at the moment. Let's see if he can do it again here, because we've got a 156 from Wilson Todd and a high 155 from Nathan Crawford, and a 156.5 from Noah Ferguson. So he's still right there in the mix. It's only Crawford that's stayed down in the 155s.
It's probably harder for Ferguson at the moment to be running those lap times, because you've got the pressure of Todd and Crawford both pushing themselves along, knowing that if they slow down, they're going to have that passing opportunity either made on them or given to them. So they are driving themselves along. This guy, though, he is by himself. He is just trying to knock out perfect laps. And right now, with the lap times he's been doing and consistently doing, he's doing a great job at that. So we look just a little bit back in the field at a few of our further back riders. I think that was the 60 there of Brock Flynn. There he is just on screen on the white bike there. And he sits in front of the 23, George Knight. Well, George Knight was actually in front of him a moment ago, so the pass has been made for him. But another good ride. They sit back there in 15th and 16th place at the moment, as we are in the dying stages of this one with only 30 seconds to go. Maybe a couple of laps for Wilson Todd to hold on. And that gap on the left-hand side of screen says it's out to 1.6 seconds. So again, Todd comfortable at the front, but he is deep, and this is possibly why.
Yeah, so lapped riders, quite often it tends to be in the detriment of the leader, because they're the first ones to come across them. And a beautiful little pass up the inside there of the number 50 rider, putting him a lap down. But he seems to have put himself a little bit of a gap now on Nathan Crawford here as we get towards the very end stage. And it's been perfect timing for Wilson Todd here as he tips it into the final turn, and he will receive that last lap board. He just managed to come through there with about 5 seconds to go. So perfect timing for the Honda rider.
So unfortunate for Crawford. He lost about 4/10 that time, getting caught up in the lapped riders. So this one may be one of those races where Crawford has to concede and say, okay, it's been a good day. We're still going to come away with the overall win. We might lose a couple of points this race, but overall we're moving forwards with a 2-second gap on the very final lap. It's going to take quite an effort if he wants to close that down.
So definitely a little bit more careful at the top of that left-hander before heading down this hill here. Dab of the foot for Wilson Todd. That would have cost him a little bit of time, but not too much. It almost looks to me in the body language of Nathan Crawford that he's settled for second place now. He knows he's going to get the overall here today, but he's not going to get those extra 3 points back on Wilson Todd that he was hoping to get.
Well, as long as you're moving forward in that championship points, it's going to be a good day. So he will be happy no matter what. He knows that he's put up a big fight in this race and for the entire day. And that kind of confidence is going to really help him moving into the last couple of rounds as well. This one won't be done, I can promise you, until the very final race. No one will give it up, at least before that final checkered flag in the 2023 championship. But it will be Wilson Todd, by the looks of it, in this race as he goes to the top of Mount Horn for the last time. He'll need to clear this lapped rider and only a couple more turns, Lee, to close out a very successful day.
So he's stretched it out now to a 3.6-second lead over Nathan Crawford as he makes his way through with just 2 turns to go. He won't get the overall for the day, but he will get the overall victory here in the second moto. The overall winner for the day will go to Nathan Crawford, but what a race and second moto victory for Wilson Todd. No celebrating. He had a job to do. He knew what he had to get done, but a bit of celebrating there for Nathan Crawford as he knows he's got the overall.
Yeah, so he would have known going into that race exactly what he needed to do for sure. He would like to have grabbed that win, but the overall for today closes in some points. Look at this, Bud all the way to the finish line here. Oh, there might be a lapped rider, but he comes across very credible 5th place.
One of the standout rides for me today, Danny Ham, is without a doubt Noah Ferguson.
Yeah, I agree. Ferguson, very impressive. Again, matching those lap times of the leaders as we see right down to the wire. That's Haruki Yokoyama trying to gain one more place. Oh no! One more place on Caleb Burham, but unfortunately just trying to find a line that wasn't there. And
managed to keep it going. Luckily, desperation in the last corner there, and he is gutted, is Haruki Yokoyama on the Empire Kawasaki, making his way up and over the finish line, but he'll still manage to hold on to 8th place. Liam Andrews coming through in 9th place, and will that be the first privateer through for Liam Andrews? No, Ryan Alexanderson, fantastic job for him.
What a day for the MX2 class here. We've seen some exceptional racing out of all of these guys, and it's just showing that this fight between these top 2 riders is going to go down to the very final race of the year. Wilson Todd, of course, comes out in top of Moto number 2. Nathan Crawford, Noah Ferguson, Brodie Connolly, and Reese Budd are your 5.
Ryan Alexanderson, Caleb Barham, Haruki Yokoyama, Liam Andrews, and Caden Minia round out the top 10.
Kukas Novak with a good result, as to Brock Flynn, Fitzpatrick, and Atkinson.
George Knight in 16th place. We've got Blake Fox, Braden Krebs, Jacob Sweet rounding out our top 20.
Noah Ferguson on the gas. P3 for the round. Talk us through your day. You look a little bit disappointed.
Yeah, the day was not too bad. I can't really complain, but I'm quite frustrated. I have the speed to win, so that's where I want to be. But look, I'm happy to walk away with solid points leading into the last 2 rounds after this break, so it should be good. I can't give it up to the team enough, and my family and everyone, so I want to wish my big brother happy birthday, and yeah, should be good.
All right, thanks for chatting, Noah. We'll see you at the next round.
Will do.
And in P2 for the round, and the Moto2 winner, Wilson Todd. Talk us through your day, because we had a motor change, an engine change in between motos. Tell us how everything went down.
Oh yeah, just about halfway through that first race, I just went up that hill and my bike just came to a stop. You know, I thought there might be some damage, but it fired right back up. So it's just my rear brake was jammed on, and then a few laps it was quite hard on the engine, so and then brake boiled, whatever, got to the end, so we just swapped it to be safe. So I just got to give it up to the Terra Firma Honda crew, and yeah.
But a great moto win, well done out there.
Thank you.
And in P1, just behind you here, Nathan Crawford. Nathan, couldn't quite catch Wilson Todd just there. It was a hard charge, but a round win for you, important championship points.
Yeah, that was another one of those start to finish, just full battle the whole time until the last lap. Yeah, I kind of just shut it down on the last lap. I couldn't really see a opportunity there for me. I was trying for 25 minutes, but it just didn't come up. So I'm just happy to get out of that race safe, because, man, the track is baked out there, and the sun was getting bad in some sections. So, yeah, just happy to get out of there safe. And obviously, yeah, we got the overall. So I am really happy. It was quite a good day. So, yeah, we move on to the next one.
We'll see you at the next round.
Thank you.
Well, what a race win there for Wilson Todd, but the overall going to Nathan Crawford on the factory KTM machine. Let's have a look at the championship points. Thanks to Pirelli, Wilson Todd with 242 points on the top of the tally. Nathan Crawford there in 2nd place at 207. Brodie Connolly in 188. Reese Budd in 4th. And Noah Ferguson rounding out the top 5. Fantastic ride from these guys. And of course, we see them on the podium. Right, make sure you join us August 13th as we head to the rolling hills of Queensland Moto Park for round 7 of the Penrite Oils ProMX Championships, brought to you by AMX Superstores. And while you're at it, make sure you lock in round 5 of the My Bike Motorcycle Insurance Australian Superbike Championships, presented by Moto2, as it heads next to Morgan Park Raceway in Queensland from the 14th to the 16th of July. Well, Queensland never seems to disappoint, and what a day of racing we've seen here at Toowoomba for round 6 of the Penrite Oils ProMX Championships, brought to you by AMX Superstores. On behalf of Danny Ham, Kate Peck and myself, Lee Hogan, thanks for your company. We next head to QMP in Queensland for round 7 of the championship, August 13th, so be sure to join us. Goodbye for now.